Hi again, Dean in the secret underground lair. Okay, we got the Worktable Sawmill buttoned up. We got a lot of things accomplished just to kind of get it ready now for dealing with the wheels and the motor and the blade. So up here we've got the joints all across the top, and on the feet here we've got them permanently glued and pinned. These are now set. The brackets keeping the saw beam going up and down. The vertical posts are now firmed up, bolted in place, spaced out appropriately so there's a little bit of clearance. Chain guide is in place with some bearings to keep the chain moving straight. So we're looking good there. So now onto the blade and the wheels and the bearings and the blocks that will provide the adjustment necessary to keep everything tight. So we'll get on with the wheels next. Moving over to the bandsaw, we're going to cut the wheels for the Worktable Sawmill out of some MDF. I have two pieces of MDF that have been glued together to make a 1-inch thick wheel. I'll first just cut a little guide here to allow the blade to get right close to the edge of the circle. Then I'll put the blank on top of the jig like so, and then do the cut. So I'll come back when that's all ready to go. And there we are. All right, I have loosely clamped up the bearing block, that'll be here, which will support two bearing flanges. One will go on either side of the bearing block, bolted through. I picked up some 7/16 inch bolts. It'll go right through the bearing and through the bearing block. And then we have a 3/4 inch shaft that'll go through the bearing, right through the bearing block, and then support the drive wheel on this side. So we just cut out the drive wheel on the bandsaw. Drive wheel will sit on here like so. So we'll get started on mounting up the bearings on this bearing block. So on with that part. So we've gone all the way through just to poke a hole on the bottom. We'll now drill these out. So there's 4 holes drilled for the bearing, or for the bolts. We'll now drill a hole through the middle at 1 inch for the shaft itself. All right, there we have it. So we'll do a test fit now with the bearing blocks and see how it looks. All right, I'm very happy with that. Turned out okay. It fits in nicely. The shaft will rotate. It goes right through both bearings. There is a little bit of adjustment that will give me some very fine tuning on alignment of this drive wheel, but I'm expecting just to clamp this down, get it nice and tight, and we should be good to go. So the shaft spins freely, supported on both bearings on both sides. So we'll now get into the mechanism, the bolts that will hold that block in place. So we'll cut these bolts off. These obviously are a little long, but they'll be driven through like so. All right, get on with that. Okay, got myself clamped up here with my vertical drill guide onto the beam. So we'll drill through this beam and into the block, the bearing block, reconfigure, set the guide up over on this side and drill through into that one. And then we'll take the block over to the drill press to finish the hole. Alrighty, we'll set up to do the other hole on this side. Alrighty, we'll disassemble all of this, take the bearing block over to the drill press and finish the holes there. Alright, I got you set up for a little different angle on the drill press. A little bit of an issue that we're going to have to deal with here, that is that this bearing block that we're working with here is actually a little beyond the threshold of my drill press. So the drill press will take me down to here. That's about 3/8 of an inch shy of the far surface of the bearing block. So I won't be able to tell where the hole goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill that far as is, and then bring the drill back up. We'll have the drill sitting in the hole. Put it in another shim like so, but I'll put this on the bottom, I think. And then now I can come back through, and now the drill press will just penetrate the far side like we've been doing in other holes. I can take it off, flip the piece over, and drill through to get a clean cut. So we'll start with that piece now. That's as far as we can go without another shim. And we just have penetration on this side, so now we can finish up the hole. And there we are. So I'll repeat the process to get the hole finished on this side, coming all the way through. And there we have both holes all the way through. So we'll do a little test fit of this bearing block now mounted on the saw beam. Okay, there we go. And I'll work on the other side. The difference on the other side is going to be, we'll put a slot in the bearing block so that there can be a little bit of adjust. Try that again. Now mark out for the bolt holes that go through the top, the slots that will go in here, one here and one here, to allow the adjustment of this block back and forth on the beam. All right, drill all set up. We'll go through this first hole on the beam. Okay, we'll get the guide set up to do the hole over on this side. I'll come back when that's ready. All set up for the second hole. Okay, so we've now cut through the saw beam. We have our two center taps for the guide block. So we'll take this guide block off, go back to the drill press and set up to finish that hole, and then drill holes on either side, and then we'll route out the difference between the two to give us the slot that we're after. So off to the drill press. Okay, we're over to the drill press again. I just made a quick cut of these holes on others. This is the hole that we drilled through on the beam. We're going to finish that all the way through, and I just marked where the other two holes are going to go that we'll route out to make the slot. So I'll start now on getting these two holes drilled all the way through, and then we'll come back and do these guys. Well, I might do them all at the same time. We'll see how it goes. Enjoy the music. Okay, over to some hand tooling now, and I'll come back when we have a nice slot. Okay, so the idler bearing block has been routed out, slotted out, and as you can see, I have from this center line, this is the center line of the blade on the beam, so we can adjust it well past that center, and we can bring it back well below the center. So putting a new blade on will be pretty easy, and then tightening it up, it should land about there. But if there's a little bit of give, you can go a little farther. So that gives me good range of motion. I'm very happy with that. Next steps will be mounting an angle bracket on and a piece of angle iron here with a nut welded on, and anchoring a little metal plate on there so that we can use that as a tensioner to tension up, to push this block back and forth along the beam. So we'll push it out there. And then, of course, we'll put in the axles, drive pulley on the other end, and mount the wheels. So, making some progress. Stay tuned for the next one.